Hello viewers, today we are discussing about the fundamentals of extension education and the rural development. The extension education means behavioral changes of the individuals, and the behavior consisting of the four components. One is the knowledge, the attitude, skill and understanding. And there are certain parameters for the extension education. That extension education means it is a out of school system of education in which both youth and adults are learned by doing. The education which stretch out into the village age and fields beyond the limits of school and college age. There are certain scientists, they also explain the extension education in the terms of Webster dictionary, a branch of university for the students who cannot attend the university in proper. Most of the farmers, it is very difficult for them to attend the university in a systematic procedure, and therefore, extension education comes under the non-formal system of education where there are no rules and regulation are taken care of, and therefore, we can say then this is an out of school system of education. The process of teaching rural people how to live better by learning ways that improve their farms, home and community institutions. Ligon is a major veteran stalwart of the extension education. According to him, we have to improve the living standards of the rural masses by various parameters, by transferring the knowledge to the people, by changing their attitudes, by changing their skill, by providing so many of the government programs so that their economic status can be enhanced by so many of the means. And education process also provide the knowledge to the rural people about the improved practices in a convincing manner. There are certain differences for the students and the rural masses. We have to convince the people, we have to impart the education through the persuasive method, so that whatever we transfer the technology to the grassroots level, they understand and they act upon, and therefore, extension comes in a persuasive, not informative, and also help them to take a decision with their specific local conditions. Sometimes what happens, the rural masses, they are illiterate and they are not even empowered to take any decision at their own level. According to O.P. Dhama, a famous extension specialist, he says that farmers can be provided a such type of education so that they can take their own decision, which crop we are going to take, what type of practices is effective for enhancement of the farmers community, and to enhance the socio-economic status by all means of the life, not only in agriculture, but all in allied activities also. If they are capable of taking the decision at their own level, then only we can say we can achieve the objective of the extension education. And another act, an act of putting across the people. There are certain type of people already residing in the villages. There are certain socio-parameters, socio-economic parameters also. As we know that the educational status, educational level of the rural masses varies from individual to individual. And there are certain socio and psychological parameters they are taking care of while taking any decisions. In an understandable manner, new ideas and improved technology of practical utility, and to enable them to put them into a practice so as to improve their general standard of living throughout their own realization and efforts. Sir, in extension education, we enhance the awareness to the farming community by not only providing the education, but also certain methods are there, so they themselves can participate in the rural development process also. If they are ready to participate in the rural development process, then only when they understand what technology we are going to transfer, what technology they are going to adopt, and they can take their own decision, and once they are empowered to take the decision, automatically we can say they can enhance socio-economic status. Only the extension education is a social science which empower to the farming community by all parameters, by sociological parameter, by psychological parameter, by taking the perception in such a way, then extension is only the field through which we can enhance the capability of the farmer by taking their own decisions. There are certain objectives of the extension education. Extension is the development of the people or distinction mentioned in the context of community development of India. A community development program in India initiated in 2nd October 1952, and Rajasthan is only the pioneer. In Nagaur district of Rajasthan, where Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru has inaugurated the community development program of India, and therefore, by taking care of this parameter, almost all the states in the India, they have taken an initiative of the community development already initiated in Rajasthan on 2nd October 1952 by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. It is a function of extension services to reach the people, to determine the accuracy, their own problem, to help them to acquire knowledge and to inspire them to action, but it must be their own action out of their own knowledge and conviction. Even after implementation of the community development program in India, after 8 years, the National Extension Service has been implemented. What type of services we are providing to the farming community, so that they can be beneficial to the farming community, not only in agriculture, but various allied activities also taking care of, so that farmer can, through the extension services, they can implement the idea and they are empowered to take the decision by 3-tier system in community development in India that is already prevailing in most of the states. There are some general objectives to assist the people to discover and analyze their problems, their felt and unfelt need. There are certain type of the need. One is a felt need, another is unfelt need. Felt need means which can be assumed by the farmers. Unfelt need, that is a unfelt need not only for particular individual, for an entire community as a whole. Need means what type of the facility the farmer is going to take care of with the help of a government by the extension education, and therefore, there are two type of need, and farmers need in their development of their individual as well as the development of the community as a whole. To identify the leadership among the people and help them in organizing group to solve their problem. Leadership is an art of changing the behavior of the masses. In every group of the farmers, we must have a one local leader. That leader must know the local dialect, he must be familiar with the problems, educationist also, and he is taking care of the development of the entire village as such, and therefore, the leader comes under a mirror of the villages. If the leader is group, everybody can be moving toward a positive direction, and therefore, the identification of the leader plays a very important role in development of the rural masses in toto. There are so many of the leaders in the villages, they are existing, like social leader, like political leader, like local leader, the professional leader, all type of leaders are available, but out of that, only the local leader already present and available in the village, that plays a very important role for development of the rural masses, so that through the means of extension education, they can achieve the objective in a very systematic manner. There are certain general objectives to disseminate the information based on research, practical experiences in such a manner that people would accept it and put into the actual practices. There are certain research findings available in the villages that are being generated by the agriculture universities, research institutions. There are already NGOs are working, but all researchers are remain with the research station unless and until the extension education does not play an important role in transferring the research findings from research station to the grassroots functionaries by various means of extension education with the help of local leaders. to keep the research worker informed of the people problem from the time to time, so that they may offer solution based on necessary research. There are certain problems which are being faced by the farmers. Farmers are facing so many of the problem at the grassroots level, and research workers are not aware about their problem, and therefore, the research worker must be acquainted with the farmers problem, so that accordingly they can pass the research finding to the farming community at grassroots level. Certain principles according to Millard and Horton. The individual is supreme in democracy. Home is a fundamental unit in a civilization. Family is the first training group of the human race, and foundation of any civilization be based on partnership of man and land. Before we are transferring any technology through the extension education, there are certain principles one has to abide. Even the farmers also, even the research worker also, even the scientist also. Only when if they abide the certain principles, then only when we can transfer the technology in a very systematic manner. Like principle of interest and need. Many a time the interest of the rural people are not the interest of the extension worker. Need that can satisfy the individuals, groups, community and national interest, need that can be fulfilled with the available resources, and the need that should be fulfilled first. There are certain interest and need of the farmers, but the research worker must well acquainted about the what is type of interest of the farmer. Sometimes say the example, the farmers is taking care of animal husbandry occupation, and the research worker have idea only to transfer the agriculture technology. No, that will not fulfill our principle. First we have to identify what is need. If he is interested for animal husbandry, he must pass on the technology relevance with the animal husbandry, and therefore, extension worker must be taken care about the need and interest of the farming community, then only we can transfer the technology. Second, grassroots principle of organization. For extension work to be effective and real, it has to be synthesis of democracy obtained at the level of the family and more particularly at the village level. Things must spring from below and spread like grass. I already told you that farmers are taking care about the grassroots functionaries, that can be involvement of the particular program. Farmers should be involved at the grassroots level. Sometimes what happens, programs can be chalked out at the top level and there is no participation of the farmers from grassroots level, and that therefore, the program cannot be achieved the success as which we are going to do. Grassroots principle of organization. There are certain organization, the panchayat as social institution is established at the block and the district level. Establishment of 3-tier system, namely village, panchayat and block, samiti and Jilla Parishad, followed by the state legislative and parliament. I have already told you in the beginning that 3-tier system through community development program has already been launched, and we have to passage our technology through 3-tier system. Then principle of cultural differences. To make extension program effective, the approach and procedure must be suited to the culture of the people who are taught. Different culture require different approaches. The difference can be perceived in the way of life of people, their attitude, their values, their loyalties, habit and custom. In a particular village, there are so many of the cultures are prevailing. Before we are taking care of, we have to identify how many different type of a caste of the people are residing and what type of a culture they are prevailing. Accordingly, we have to chalk our program based on the cultural differences of the rural community. Principle of cultural change. As each culture is unique and each particular situation within which a change is occurring or it is to be made is unique, it is not possible to lay down prescription for what to identify and to describe the process which occurs so that each particular individual or team charged with responsibility of planning, execution or adjusting to some type of change may be able to act in terms of a process. Another principle of cooperation and participation. In the attempt to involve a great number of persons in achieving desired common need, and there seems to be no acceptable alternative but to let them choose to the end and then aiding them to organize their self-help efforts successfully to do the things they want to do. People must share in the development of program and must feel that it is their own program. We need a cooperation of the farmers and scientists also. Principle of allied science and democratic approach. Applied agriculture science is not one-way process. Problems are taken to the scientist for experimentation to find out solutions. The extension worker in return translate the scientific finding in such a way that farm family can voluntarily adopt their satisfy their own needs. I already told you applied means the animal husbandry, fisheries, principle of learning by doing. The farmers like other people hesitate to believe and set on theories or even fact until they see with their own eyes and the proof of them in the material form. Extension worker must bring this work to their personal attention. The work should be carried at home to them. Principle of trained specialist. Trained specialists should be provided who keep themselves in touch with their respective research institutes on the one hand and extend to extension worker meaningful terms the latest scientific development which have scope of adoption in a particular areas. Adaptability principle in the use of extension teaching method. No single extension teaching method is effective under all situations. Reading material, radio program, demonstrations, farm and home visit in single or in combination may be used as per the purpose and suitability of the people. Principle of leadership. A good rule in extension work, never do anything yourself that you can get someone to do for you. This calls for a development of leadership. Local leader are the guardian of the local thought and action and can be trained and developed to the best serve as interprets of the new to the villagers. Whole family principle. The family is the unit in any society. All the members of the family have to be developed equally by involving all of them. This is because the extension program efforts all members, create mutual understanding, aids in money arrangement, balance farm and family needs, educate younger member, provide activities out of all the assured family services to the community and society at large. Principle of satisfaction. Satisfaction of the people is must in extension program. Unless the people are satisfied with the end product of any program, it cannot run. People need to derive full satisfaction, adoption of the innovation well suited their needs and resources. Scope of extension education, efficiency in agriculture production, efficiency in marketing, distribution and utilization, conservation, development and use of natural resources, management of the farm in home, family living, youth development, leadership development, community development, public affairs. Philosophy of extension education. Philosophy consisting of two words, philo and sophia. Philos means knowledge, sophia means how to achieve that knowledge. And there are certain procedure of achieving the knowledge, like we have to prepare a plan, execute the plan, evaluate the plan with the group, not for the people. That is the objective of the extension education. Extension education, already told you, it is changing the behavior of the rural masses by certain means. There are certain principles have taken care of by changing the behavior, and the behavior already consisting of knowledge, skill, attitude and understanding. If four components are clubbed together and we process the technology by various means of extension education by taking care of different parameters of the principle, then only when we can achieve the success. If the grassroots functionaries are well aware about the research findings through the extension education, then only we can have a successful of the extension education and rural development in toto. Fundamentals of extension education and rural development. I have already told you in the beginning, the extension education is consisting of two words, extension and education. Extension means changing the behavior of the rural masses, and behavior consisting of the four elements: the knowledge, the skill, attitude and understanding. If we club all the four elements together, then only we can achieve the desired changes in the rural masses. While bringing the desirable changes, we have to come across certain parameters. We have to improve our teaching method, effective teaching method based on the need and interest of the farming community. There are certain principles we have to taken care of, like cultural differences, need and interest, cultural changes, principle of satisfaction, and leadership is also. If we passes through various principles, if we come across various principles, then only when we can changing the awareness to the farming community of the on the parameter to which we wishes to do so. And if the farmers can change the awareness to the rural community, whatever research findings we are wish to transfer to the farming community, they are ready to accept and change the behavior. At the end, we have already discussed the philosophy of extension education. Philosophy consisting of two words, philos and sophia. Philos means knowledge and sophia means how to achieve the knowledge. We can achieve the knowledge through the various teaching method of the extension education, and we passes through different parameters. We prepare the plan, execute the plan, put the action, and problem can be identified in such a way that whatever farmers are taking care of developmental program of the extension education, or not only in agriculture but allied activity also, they can farmers can understand their problem, act upon the problem, and they can use the technology as and when needed in the development, and then only we can say that this is only the parameter of rural development through the extension education.